Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Viva-Mundo's webinar. Today we are joined by the wonderful Queens University, located in Northern Ireland. They welcome you today for this webinar, and we are ready for all your questions. If you would like to ask any questions, please do. We have the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, which is where you can hold all of your questions and we will be able to answer them for you throughout the whole webinar. Okay, I'm going to pass you over to Farhad, who will be your presenter for today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Stav, and a very warm Northern Irish welcome to everyone who's listening to us today. My name is Fahad Asif. I work at Invest Northern Ireland, which is Northern Ireland's economic development agency. We're delighted today to be hosting another webinar on studying in Northern Ireland with Queen's University Belfast. And I'm delighted today to have with us Khalid, who's the regional manager at Queen's University Belfast. He's here to answer any questions around entry requirements, fees, scholarships, deadlines, what the requirements are to study at Queen's University Belfast. But most importantly, we've got 3 current students from the Middle East region who are studying at Queen's University Belfast. We've got Jasmine from Jordan, who's doing an undergrad degree in dentistry. We've got Ahoud from Kuwait. She's doing a master's degree in nursing. And we've got Kashif, who is from India, but who's lived in UAE. He's doing an undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering. So really, we want you to hear from our current students on how their experience in Northern Ireland has been. And we, of course, welcome your questions. We want to keep it really interactive. So if you want to ask us any questions about studying in Northern Ireland and at Queen's University Belfast, please use the chat function to drop in your questions. To kickstart the webinar today, I'm going to ask Khalid, who is the regional manager for Middle East and North Africa at Queen's University Belfast, to give us a very quick overview. Khalid, everyone who's listening to us today, in less than a minute, why should they consider studying at Queen's University Belfast?
Thank you, Fahad, and thanks for everybody attending to know more about Queen's University Belfast and meet our amazing ambassadors. Queen's University Belfast. I will tell you in less than 1 minute, top ranked university in the top 200. We have more than 15 subjects in the top 200 worldwide. We have more than 20 subjects in the top 20 for the UK ranking. And we do have huge range of program from foundation to PhD. And we are one of the safest cities in the UK and one of the lowest cost for student, as well as our unique post-study work option that the student can go into the field after they graduate.
Fantastic. That is a really good quick introduction. So as you guys can see and hear, Queen's University Belfast is Russell Group, top ranked, top 200 in the world, but many of the subject areas are ranked top 10 in the UK. So high quality study experience, safe, welcoming, cost effective, and so much more. Now I'm going to bring in our current students into the conversation as well. And if you may start with Kashif. Kashif, tell us briefly about your journey. What took you to Queen's University in Belfast?
Well, during my time of searching for universities, during my final year of high school, Queen's hadn't really come up as an option. I didn't know of Queen's and, in fact, as Northern Ireland as a destination of study. However, while I was going through clearing, the university was brought up to me, and that's when I did a bit of research into it, and I found out all these things about it being in the top 200, it being a Russell Group university, and especially from my course, it was, it like pretty much had all the course content that I was looking for from university in terms of practical and theory. And then when I went on further into looking at the city of Belfast and Northern Ireland, I found it, although it is a bit different from what you read and then what you experience, but the gist of it was going to be a smaller city compared to Dubai, where I'm from, and it was also going to be I guess you could say more enclosed, like all the entire university setting is ingrained into the city itself. So you're pretty much one stop, you're in like a university building, and then the building next to you could be like a mall, for example, or a cafe. It's very well integrated. So you don't really feel like you're on a university setting, you just feel like you're in a city. As per when I uh, finally decided to choose Queen's University, immediately from the get-go, the university contacted me with all the info I needed to provide on my side. And even though I did join the university a month later, because I had to get things in order for travel, they still had a welcome like party or package waiting for me at the airport. So as soon as I arrived, they were there to greet me and take me from the airport, along with all my things, helped me to move into my accommodation, which was university accommodation. So right from the get-go, as soon as I hit the okay to go to the university, they were with me until I got to the university.
Fantastic. And Jasmine, I'd like to bring you into the conversation as well. You're studying dentistry undergraduate. Again, how did you end up at Queen's University Belfast, and how's your experience been so far?
Okay, so I'm studying dentistry at Queen's University, and I just finished my first year and I'm moving on to my second year. So I knew when I was applying to the UK that specifically the medical and dental field was very competitive. So when I was looking into the universities and Queen's came up, it was actually one of the few universities that offered more spaces for international students. So I knew that I had to try to have higher chances of getting in because I really wanted to study in the UK. So when I was looking more into the university and I was interested in applying, it came up that the university was located in Northern Ireland. And at the beginning, I was kind of shocked because I didn't understand why I would keep getting Queen's when I was searching for universities in the UK. But when I continued to do research, I realized that, in fact, Northern Ireland is part of the UK. And I do need a UK student visa to go there. And ever since I was accepted, it was actually one of the best decisions I've made. I really like the city, the people there, the course itself is very structured and well thought out.
Fantastic. And last but not the least, Ahood. So you did language in Manchester, and then you went to Belfast. So how was that experience, and how would you compare the two?
Until now, I will say thank you to Queen Belfast. So because they accepted me, I was like devastated. After I finished my language, I was like trying to find an offer. The only university they accepted me, it was Queen's. So I want to kiss everything with Queen's because they accepted me. Then after that, I did I gave them all my offers, all my, all my documents. It took me like 5-6 days. Then after that, they give me the unconditional offers and everything was settled. And you know how you say, feel like home. In Belfast, I feel like home, because I'm really, really happy to be in Belfast. Queens, they are helping me a lot with everything, with my enrollment, with my registration and everything. They're really, really so helpful. So I always say, go for Queens.
Okay, and just bringing Khalid into the conversation. Khalid, obviously Middle Eastern students, study at Queen's, and there's a sizable population of students. So what are the facilities or support available for students at Queen's?
So we do have everything. It depends. Queens, like Kashif said, you don't feel that you are in a campus. You are actually in the city. You are in the main city. So everything you need is around. If you want to do a gym, there is a huge number of gym. I think Kashif, some people want to go climate. They do have a lot. They do a lot of outdoor activity, which a lot of students enjoy, especially when things they do for the first time. You have to understand as well about the nature of the location. So as you know, or maybe the students already know that Game of Thrones was filmed there in North Ireland. You have to
Yeah.
know that Titanic as well. So a lot of themes around you that gives you the homey and the relaxation atmosphere, so you can focus on your study, on your sport. If you want to do sport, you can do everything. As well, we do have a huge number of clubs across the university.
I want to say something about when I was back 4 in Manchester, I had the panic attack, like homesick. But when I came to Belfast, this is disappeared. Can you imagine?
So what sort of activities did you do, Ahood, then? What sort of social activities are you part of?
I have my German Shepherd dog, which is here. He's sleeping.
Okay.
I'm taking him like at 5 o'clock in the morning for a walk. Then I will get back home at 6, like 1 hour walk. You know, every place I walk, there is a police car. So
Okay.
they protect me. So
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to go like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not afraid to go out in Belfast. But when I was in Manchester, no, I was so scared. Every minute I go out of my door, I'm scared. But in Belfast, no.
Okay.
Every corner there is a police car, so they know me. Even they know my dog. They know that this park should be open for him. Can you believe that?
Okay.
So,
Cool. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
Kashif,
So
tell us about your experience then. What sort of social activities have you been doing in Belfast?
walking, hiking,
Sorry.
No, no,
walk.
I'll let her finish as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing walking, hiking. Yeah, you know, most of it is walking, actually.
Okay.
There is a lot of park in Belfast. You can go and you have a nice journey in the park.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kashif.
even adding to what Ahood said, coming to Belfast, the city, if you walk, I'd say maybe an hour or two, or if you do like a 20-minute drive outside of the city, you're immediately encompassed by nature or like mountain ranges and a whole lot of much older setting, a more countryside type of setting. So there are a lot of different activities that I got involved with, especially trekking, mountain biking, for example. So they have quite a huge passion for outdoor activities over here. So I did get involved with that a lot. And in terms of university related activities, I got involved with a few clubs and societies, primarily to support my hobbies in athletics and things like that.
Okay.
And then beyond that, socially, I don't go out too much, but in terms of those type of activities, there's plenty of options here to satisfy the people that want to do things like partying or maybe food, shopping, all that.
Yeah, you're correct. Thank you.
What about you, Jasmine?
So for me, I only spent a few weeks in Belfast, but for the time I spent there, the usual things that I do would be like going walking with friends, because everything in Belfast is just walking distance.
Yeah.
I'd also go to parks, restaurants, shops. There are a large variety of shops there. Because I was there when there was a high surge in COVID cases, most of the things and activities were closed, but I was still able to explore the city and go to different places.
And just touching up on COVID then as well, Jasmine, Kashif, Ahood, how have you found the transition? Like, how has the university supported you during these challenging times? I guess starting with you, Jasmine, because you only just started and COVID hit.
So at the beginning, I was devastated when everything had to be moved online. But to be honest, the university was very well prepared, and they were able to manage everything. through all of their platforms. So everything, this transition to online learning was actually very smooth, and the university was able to have a high level of support to all students. And every clinical and practical lesson that I missed out on has been moved to next year.
So,
Bobby,
yeah,
Asha?
so helpful, really. If I have any issue, I just go to the student guide center. I just go to them. They will just give me the tips what to do, and they will really help me. It's really a Queens. I can't really, I'm like speechless to say. Really, they help me a lot.
Yeah. Again, because I've experienced both sides with pre and post-COVID teaching. So I believe much earlier on, as you go through, especially in my degree, your subjects get a bit more practical, a bit more hands-on, and especially in this year, in my third year, you'll have the most practical aspects, a lot of projects, group work, things like that. And the university have just handled it brilliantly with the way they were able to move the delivery of course content from being in a live lecture hall to being on software like Teams, for example. So they would use Teams or Canvas to get all this information out to the students so they're not missing anything. And they're always prompt with their communication. So if you just keep on top of your emails, really, you'll get everything you need right out there, right in front of you.
I totally agree with you.
And Khalid, I'd just like to bring you into this conversation as well. Obviously, COVID is a challenging time, unprecedented for everyone involved. And we've seen Queen's University Belfast really be at the forefront of supporting students, be it chartering flights for international students to get to Belfast and other support. So give us a quick overview of what university has done so far in terms of supporting students.
Everybody
and what are the plans moving forward?
They're asking me, how come you get accepted in Queens? They are all asking me, how come you get accepted in Queens? I said, this is a blessing from God. I get accepted in Queens. Everybody asking me, how come you accepted in Queens? Because it is one of the most ranking, university this 20th. So they're asking me, how come? I said, this is a blessing from God. So I have to keep going, and I have to keep my Queens proud, and I have to get everything in a high marks so I want to make my Queens happy. So everybody like asking me, how come you get it? I said, I get it. So I will make my Queens happy.
Thank you, Ahud, so much. So, Fad, going back to what you said about what we are doing for our students. Fad, one of the most important things for us is the student. It's for us. This is our brand. This is our ranking. This is our people, our student. You have to understand that most of the students who already graduated from Queens, they are still in the communication with the alumni team. They come to the campus. A lot of things is happening around this area, and maybe while you are talking about this, we will go about what we prepare. You have to understand that we will never announce anything until we go through a lot of preparation for during the months before we announce if we will go back. For example, we announced that the student will go back in campus. Our full intake will start normally. The students will be there under the new normal. And this is what we are working on. As well as we are, for any student coming from any red list country, they have to do a quarantine for 10 days, which will cost around £1,750. Queens, because of this event, and because if any students are interested, we will waive this 1,750 once they finish the quarantine and come to campus. We will refund them this amount back towards their account once they finish the quarantine and enroll. This is only for the new student who's coming from the red zone country. So from us as Queens, we are trying to support the students as much as we can. We are trying to always make them comfortable. That's why, like you said, last year when the COVID started, we had a good number of students from India and as well as China, and the students were really keen. So we, you know about this, we got a plane and we took
Yes.
all the students from China to the campus. And
Yeah.
this is something, it's not that something unique we did, but because we are a student-focused university, our
Yeah.
main thing is the students. That's why if you, Jasmine is with us now. Jasmine, actually, she's going to a dentistry. She need to be on the lab. She need to have a lot of practice. But
Yeah.
in such case, what they did, the faculty did an amazing thing. They told her, don't worry, do the technical things now online that you can finish, and
Yeah.
anything you missed, we will next intake, once you
Yeah.
come back to the campus, we will sit with you, we will work with you to achieve as if you are started from campus from day one. So
Yeah.
this is the kind of connection we do have with our students.
And there are quite a few questions coming in as well, and I'd encourage
Yes.
all the attendees to, feel free to drop us
Sure.
questions. You can ask Khalid or our students as well,
Yeah.
whatever you want to ask. Khalid, there are quite a few questions around entry requirements.
Sure.
One particular one is maths compulsory in class 11 and 12 for pursuing BBA, but also just building up on that, if you can give our audience a quick overview on what is required for undergrad and postgrad generally.
Yes, thank you so much for mentioning this fact, because this is very important, because most of the students they think that the entry requirement is set. Actually, it depends on the curriculum. So if you are in American curriculum, it's totally different than British, than IB, than, for example, Shuwaifat curriculum. So every curriculum is totally different. That's why on our website, we have mentioned the general entry requirement from, for example, from the IB, let's say. And then if you want to go deeper about a specific entry requirement, you can search by curriculum or by country. That's why it's totally different. But if you need, let's say, some student, they will ask, okay, so what is the general entry requirement, for example? So if you are talking about something related to science, so it's mainly between ABB, okay, for A level, and it depends as well about the other entry or entry requirement. Some need the specific courses, like somebody mentioned about math and physics, if it's engineering, for example, and some they do not require. So I can we cannot give a flat entry requirement. It depends course by course, and it depends on the curriculum as well. That's why I'm more than happy that once we finish, I will be sending an email to everybody register, that I will receive my email with all the entry requirements. It depends on their country, so they can get connected with me as well.
Absolutely. And I just want to reiterate that here, that Queen's University Belfast, they've got a fantastic and friendly international office team. Khalid is actually based in the UAE, so a similar time zone. He's available for one-to-one consultations as well. So if you want to have a conversation with him, or even if you want to get together with your parents and have an in-depth counseling session in terms of what Queen's has to offer and whether it be the right fit for you or not, do get in touch. If you want to drop in your email address here, Khalid will of course be in touch with every participant from the webinar. So do take up that opportunity to have that conversation with the team at Queen's University Belfast as well. Moving on, there's lots of questions coming in, and again, I encourage all the participants to actively ask us questions. One of the questions is, how did you find moving to a new country, from wherever you were living in previously, and was it easy to make friends? I'll start with Kashif.
It was actually pretty seamless, even as I mentioned earlier, even though I joined slightly after the university had started. Typically, if you are a freshman coming into the university, there are plenty of events once you get here to help you settle down that they usually last a week before your actual academics start. So there are plenty of events going on that the university will put on in order to help, socialize, get to know different club societies, different, I guess, how do I put this? Like faculties, for example, get to mingle with other people.
Yeah.
So all across. In terms of my journey to get here, it was incredibly seamless once I had all my documents in place, and Queens did help with any queries I had with getting my CAS letter from them, or if I had to pose them any questions with regards to immigration, filling out forms when I arrived at the airport, any of that, any questions I had, sent it to them within a day or two. They got back to me. And so in terms of that, it was pretty seamless. And then again, once I got here, there was someone at the airport that was there to greet us and then help us go from the airport to our university accommodation as well.
Okay, what about you, Jasmine?
So for me, I was very nervous about moving away from my home and traveling alone, moving to a city that's completely different where I'm from. But the journey was much easier than I expected, just because of the support I was receiving from the university, the friendliness from the people itself. And regarding the question, was it easy to make friends? It really was. I was supported by a large number of international students, so I got to meet many people from all over the world. And the people, even the local people, are very, very friendly. And my flatmates, I still am to date in contact with them, and I'm moving with one of them next year.
Okay, brilliant. What about you, Ahud?
Wow, for me, it was like amazing thing. When I like 1 year, I spent it in Manchester. But when I moved to Belfast, it's like, as I said, it's like home. I had a panic attack and homesick in Manchester. But when I reached the Belfast, all this disappeared. All is gone. Can you imagine?
Okay.
Because the people here, as Jasmine said, they are so friendly, so helpful. Even Queens, whatever I send in an email for my immigration, for my student guide, they just reply me the next day. Even maybe it is less than the next day. They will reply me and they will help me a lot. I'm so glad that I've been here in Belfast. Second thing, I've been accepted in Queens University, really. I'm so glad, really, for that.
Great. So there are lots of questions around accommodation as well.
Yes.
And I know, Kashif, you've experienced both. So you've stayed in university accommodation as well as private. So tell us, the differences that you found and your experience of both.
Yeah, before this, Fahd, I want to say that any student who enroll at Queens, they do have a confirmed accommodation. We book automatically for them accommodation, and it depends what they need because we have different options. I think Jasmine was living in a different option than Ahud and Kashif as well. So 3 different kind of options, and I think they can share their experience.
Yeah.
I'm living my own private accommodation. I'm not living on university accommodation, which I wish one day, but because I have a family. But I heard of my friend, they are living on the university accommodation, which they are really so happy. But because I have a family, I have my husband and my dog, which is I need to have my own private accommodation. But still, it's the price of the rent and everything. It's really suitable for any student. Any student can come. It's really the price. It's suitable for me. Like for me, I'm so happy. I'm glad to pay for my rent, my own private rent, and I'm happy. And it's not like stalking me or doing something. No, it's really, I'm so happy with the rent. All the rent, it can be affordable. even you want to buy your grocery, it's also affordable. According to any student, international student, he can live in Belfast, studying and live freely.
Mhm. Kashif?
Yeah. So yeah, when I first came to the university, I was, as I said, automatically enrolled into the Queens Accommodation. So the rooms, they can range from anywhere from being like, I guess you could say a room with a shared bathroom on a floor of, I think, 10 rooms. So you share it amongst 10 people, and a shared kitchen. And then they can go all the way up to you having your own studio. So your own kitchen, your own bathroom, and it's more or less like an apartment type of setting. In addition to that, I only stayed on campus or in Queen's Accommodation for one semester. And because I had quite a few friends at that time, I decided, I'd like to move out and get a house on my own. I did a bit of initial research on my own, and also I got help from the university. So they were able to guide us on things to watch out for. And they even helped us look through our contracts that we got for houses and just make sure that everything is okay, and not, like, no information will catch us off guard in the future. And even the general processes about, like the tenant's requirements of living there, even how to top up your gas or your electricity if you have to do that at where you're staying. So all these minor things, they were incredibly helpful in like taking us through that process.
Hello.
Okay,
I
so
think
I'll just talk about where I
yes.
stayed. So like the majority of first year students, I decided to stay at Queen's Accommodation, specifically in BT1. I was in a 6-bedroom apartment, so I had my own bathroom and bedroom, but I had a common kitchen and living space with 5 other people. I decided to go there because it was the best option in terms of the amount I had to pay. As Arud said, it is a very affordable city to stay in, and the accommodation itself is very affordable. The facilities in the accommodation are just exceptional. We have a gym, we have a social space, a coffee and tea bar. I also did not have to worry about paying any electricity bills, water bills, or Wi-Fi bills because it was all covered by the accommodation itself. So for me, the best option was the Queen's University accommodation, and I also enrolled for next year. So I decided to continue living in BT1 next year as well.
This is true. This is one thing I miss, when I have a private, when I be in accommodation, I don't have to worry about electricity, internet, all these things, gas. But when I have a private, I have to worry about electricity, gases, internet, all these things. But really, I want to be one day to be in the accommodation, but I have family.
You can always get another room in the university accommodation and have two apartments.
Yeah, but really,
live
when
on pot noodles.
really, it's so hardful to think about electricity and all these things. But when university, they will accommodate all these things. Oh my God, you'll feel so restful.
Okay, I'll bring Khalid into the conversation. Khalid, there's been a few questions around employer engagement and careers. Tell our students a little bit about the support that Queen's offers to current students in terms of employability and post-study prospects.
Thank you so much for that, Fahad. I think I will talk for around 2 minutes, and then I'll give it to Kashif, because Kashif already can talk a lot, because he already did 1 year of placement, which gives the students a real existing example, not just talking. But that being said, you have to understand that for us, it's not about getting student to enroll and that's it. No, the experience is very important for us. And you can see a lot of students when you ask them, is it Queens? It's in the top 200. Is it hard? The students who are really keen to do the internship or work, this kind of students, they think it's very easy. They don't do a lot of work. Actually, they do a lot and they study hard, but because they are in real practice, so it's something they are enjoying. And I think let's see Kashif experience, and as well Ahoud in nursing, so she can talk a little bit as well. But let's start with Kashif.
Yeah. So as per my degree, I had to do 1 year of practical work experience at a company, and the company choice was completely up to myself. And of course, I had to go ahead and contact the companies, provide my CV, do the interviews by my own. But I was able to still seek guidance, and I did from my school, the engineering school, with regards to how to formulate my CV, types of particular questions to expect on interviews. And some companies do an assessment center where they try to gauge your skills, so how to prepare for those. They also had, I believe, in my second year of university, there was an entire module. It was an optional module, but they taught you everything about employability. So they tried to sharpen your soft skills, communication, teamwork, also trying to help you with writing your CVs, things like that. So it was really nice to see the university putting that effort into increasing our employability as students so early on. And even so, my placement, I had done it at Caterpillar in Belfast. So we normally have career fairs that occur typically at the start of the year. So the year prior to doing my placement, I had visited a huge number of companies from primarily the UK and Northern Ireland. And Caterpillar was one of them that I went up to. I was pretty interested in what I saw. And then eventually, after the whole job hunting process, I was able to get an offer from them, which was very nice. And in addition, it being in Belfast, I was able to still continue experiencing the city and experiencing work life in Belfast, which was incredible, because I think like once you start working and once you're out there, you're surrounded by the locals, and they're incredibly friendly. And if you're an international student, they're always open to wanting to know about you, your culture, where you come from. So they're always intrigued, and they're pretty excited to share what they have, their culture and their history with you as well. So it's a nice two-way relationship.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And who did your course also have some practical elements as well?
Yeah, for me, I didn't know that I'm gonna be accepted by Queens, because I worked like almost 20 years back in the ICU. So I think Queens accepted me because of my work experience. So I worked like 20 years in critical care unit. Then when I get accepted, I was like in between going back home and getting my visa. So Queens, like I will say, Queens saved me. They saved my life, really, not to do my visa and all these things back home. They didn't send me back home. So I did it here in the UK. So I can say that Queens give me exactly what I want. They really give me the course and the years and everything. For me, I am a sponsorship, not by myself. So the sponsorship, when they found out it's the Queen, they accepted me. They just like that when they, because Queens, one of the university which is accepted my sponsor. So really, I can say Queens saved me. This is the day.
Okay, Jasmine, you've just started. Obviously, you're in first year, and obviously straight after high school, university is a big big jump. And how have you found the academics? Is it too tough? Obviously, dentistry is quite a difficult course to get into in the first place, as you
I'll
mentioned.
say, see, it's meant about my country. My country, they didn't teach me how the academic world, how the academic life. In my country, it's like high school. This is the most level they reach. So when I joined to Belfast, they really helped me. I didn't know about internet. I didn't know about Canvas. I didn't know anything. But Queens helped me. As I'm Arabic person, Queens helped me. Really, they helped me a lot, a lot. I can't tell you how much. Even if I want to send an email to international student, if I send them an email that I don't know how to enroll, or if I don't know anything, I know, but if I don't know, they really help me a lot.
Absolutely, yeah, great. Okay, Jasmine.
Okay, so being a dental student, I really had a lot of coursework that I went through over the years, this year. But because I was doing the IB curriculum in high school, the transition was actually a lot smoother because the curriculum itself really prepared me for the amount of coursework that I was getting and the amount of content I would be studying. So I would say that coming from the IB curriculum that I was in, the transition from high school to university was much smoother than I expected it to be. And I was able to manage my time because it was all taught to me in high school, how to manage my time, my social life, my workload. So it was all manageable and not too heavy, you know.
Mm-hmm. And Khalid, one of the questions that obviously a lot of students ask is about scholarships.
Yes.
So can you tell us what are the sort of scholarships that Queens offers?
Sure. Thank you, Fat, so much. Just to go back to this thing to make it very clear for the student, for us, when the student come to us, we need him to go into the real life very quickly.
Yeah.
What we mean by very quickly, we need him to be prepared, ready. That's why Jasmine, you can see her today in our meeting, but maybe after a while I will not be able to ask her to join because she will be very busy, because she will be always doing a lot of things as well as kashif. That's why we are trying. So this is about our students. That's why we go with them, and a lot of post-study work option available in North Island as well. Regarding our scholarship, we have different scholarship. It depends if the student undergraduate or master's or PhD. But if we are talking in general about the undergraduate programs, it depends. We do have different scholarship. It depends on the program. If the program is a classroom based, which is the average is 17,400, we give around 2,500 as a scholarship for entry. And if the student maintains 75% for the next year, we will give him a merit scholarship that it's equivalent to £2,000. So he can maintain this scholarship every year if he maintain a GPA 75%. This is one. Second, we do have another scholarship called Early Bird Scholarship, which is 10% of the tuition fees. This is if the student paid in a specific time, which is end of July. This is the second. As well as for the accommodation, we have another scholarship, but this is it's not automatic. Then the student should apply. So we do have different scholarship. For engineering, for example, the fees is because it's a lab based, it's a bit more than so it's 21,000, and the scholarship is £3,000, not 2,500, 3,000, and the student can maintain it every year if his GPA is equivalent to 75% and above, and the 10% as well is available for the early bird. So for master degree, we do have different scholarship, except excluding the MBA program. This is our scholarship as of now. And as you know, it's every time maybe a specific program. But what I can say that medicine and dentistry, we are not offering any scholarship.
Okay. And as students would know, Northern Ireland is part of the UK, and starting from this year, the UK has reintroduced the post-study work visa. So Khalid, can you brief us a little bit about what this post-study visa would mean for students who graduate from Queen's University, Belfast? What sort of opportunities will they get after finishing?
Yes, thank you so much for this. This is very important for not only the students, even for the families, because actually it's what is my return of investment. I send my son or my daughter to study abroad in a different country, and what they are gaining from this education. So that's why you will see that Queen's University Belfast, we maintain our connection with the student, like Kashif said, that we help him a little bit in the beginning to make him confident to go and do his placement. But
Mm.
before he graduate, we do now with the visa, you can take around 2 years post-study work. And this will uh, apply for all students for undergraduate, and then they can search for a job and find a job. This is if the student doing separately. But of course, our team on campus helping the student, and we do have a huge connection with a lot of companies because, as you know, Belfast, there is a lot of headquarter for a lot of companies in Belfast, not in London or Manchester, because of like we said about the cheap rent, the low cost of living, as well as the safety. That's why the opportunity for the student to find a job after they graduate, while we are helping them with our connection, it's much easier, and it's a value added for the student and for us as well. And by the way, our percentage for the people who study after they graduate in the first 3 months, it's 96%. And I can tell you the 4% is mostly in sponsored students who go back home.
Yeah, and you know, I guess that's where Invest Northern Ireland comes in as well. We're the
Yes.
regional economic development agency for Northern Ireland, and we work across all sectors. And I think Queen's University Belfast, obviously, you've mentioned 96% in full-time employment or higher education, but also Queen's has a very strong track record when it comes to spin-outs and innovation and entrepreneurship as well. So when you're studying at Queen's University Belfast in the UK, Kashif is a prime example here. He did a placement at Caterpillar, which is one of the world's leading, companies. But also at the same time, you'll get skills in terms of innovation and solving real problems. And it could very well be that you end up starting your own business and taking that initiative in solving a real world problem. Kashif, I just want to ask you in terms of, obviously, you've worked 1 year, and you've obviously studied in Belfast as well. How have you found it different from the UAE or India, for that matter, in terms of different cultures, of ways of thinking, or education, or environment? What are your insights on that?
Well, I did do like a small short-term piece chunk of work experience back in Dubai during high school, and I'd say the work ethic over here is a bit more, I guess you could say, more organized and structured, whereas back in Dubai, depending on which company you worked at, you would either be doing like a 9 to 5 shift, or you could be doing a 7 to 8 shift. Like there's a bit of difference and variation there. Whereas over here, because of the laws of work, the UK laws, work is very regulated, and even companies, large companies, especially like Caterpillar, for example, they try to take care of their employees as best they can. So even like there were times where I would end up staying late, maybe for an hour or two after the normal cutoff time would be. Like I wouldn't know, but then like my boss would tell me like, oh, did you do any extra hours? Were you in too late? Like don't worry about it, we'll pay you overtime. Like you need to be, protected by your contract, etc. So in terms of that, the work ethic over here is very structured. Everything is given to you in documentation in your contract, of course. There's no type of hidden fees or any type of hidden payments you might need to make or penalties you may incur. And of course, like I'd say, even as a student, both the university and the company were able to explain things like your work contract, your pension, paying your income tax, which is the first I experienced doing it. All these things, they were able to explain it down to a level that I could understand, which was pretty incredible.
Okay, Jasmine, tell me something. So obviously you've always wanted to be a dentist, and that's what you dreamt of and aspired to be. When you actually started doing the course, when you enrolled in university, were there certain things that surprised you, or was it what you expected it to be? Were there any things that were really, really different? So I'm asking you on behalf of all the students, so obviously, who are in high school, they have a vision of a university and they have dreams of studying particular things, but how was it different from what you had hoped for it to be?
To be honest, like when I came into the course, I knew that dentistry would be a very tough course because of the large amount of content. But to be honest, to my surprise, the content was less than what I expected. So it was actually easier than what I expected. Maybe it was because of the amount of support I was receiving from the staff, because they really made the content itself easier to study and to understand. They had a lot of like visuals and videos and explanations and practicals to help me understand the course module better. Of course, I was devastated when things were moved online, because I really expected my first year to be hands-on and practical work. But I know that we took the majority of content in first year, so that the second year would be filled with a lot of practical and clinical work.
Yeah.
Fahd, just to add to Jasmine said, we focus mainly on the practical experience. This is something very important for us, not only in the medicine or the dentistry side, but across all our programs, because I think this is how we make our student rich once they graduate, rich by knowledge, by education, by the mentality that once they graduate, they already, if they already didn't sign an agreement to work, once they graduate, they will find easily a job with the support with us, of course. But most of the students, they don't need our support, because during the 2 or 3 years they were studying, they had the full support that's it. They go directly to the workplace. They know what they are doing. They are confident, and they know that they're gonna get any job they want.
And I think one of the unique things about Northern Ireland is the unique ecosystem that is present in the region, with the 2 universities, with the industry, the NHS, and the government, all working very closely together to solve real world problems. And like Khalid was saying, students, when they come to Queen's University Belfast, they don't just get that academic degree and rigor, but they also get exposed to the real world challenges and the research that is being conducted across all disciplines, be it science, engineering, business, humanities. It is looking at real world problems and how to solve them. So when you come to university, don't just come thinking that you'll be studying a particular course, but come in with a view that you'll be getting equipped to be able to solve problems that are present or that will be present in the future. Khalid, Kasha, what about you? When you came to university, was it what you expected it to be? And what tips will you give to students who are wanting to sort of come to Queen's University Belfast? What are the sort of things that they should consider?
When I came here, I didn't really set any type of expectations, because I wanted to just experience things for as they were and take in what comes. And strangely enough, it felt like I was just going into another year of high school, but in a different country. It felt so similar. To the only difference was you're just like pretty much in a different country, different setting, studying maybe a few different subjects, but the entire setting, the entire atmosphere, was pretty much like just going into high school again. In terms
Uh,
of, oh, sorry, Khalid, do you want to?
No, I want to say that this is our role, Fahad. It's not about education only. It's about making the student comfortable. And this is
Yeah.
one of the main thing that our students, they achieve high grades. That's why our employment is higher. Because for us, the student, he need to focus or she need to focus on, they came actually from abroad to on a specific thing. This is what we need to enhance. For example, for Kashif, it's the technical thing. For Jasmine, it's things related to dentistry and to be aware about all this area. So for us, it's we need the student to focus. That's why you will find a huge number of people supporting the student across in accommodation, in visa, in immigration, in employability, in class. Like Jasmine said, there is even the curriculums. There is a lot of things related to virtual reality or things to make it easier for the student because we need them to achieve not only success, but to be unique once they graduate. That's why we always say any student come, welcome to our new Queen's family member.
Khalid, I want to ask you about key deadlines and what are the documents or what are the things that students need to get in order. Obviously, we're in June right now.
Yes.
Next intake is going to be September. So students who are thinking of enrolling this September, what are the things that they need to get in order right now, and what are the key deadlines that they need to take into consideration?
Thank you so much, Fahad, for this. For medicine and dentistry, it's already closed because it's only through UCAS, which is already closed. We can accept application for undergraduate through our website till the 30th of this month. So till the end of the month, we still accept application. We do have some programs are closed because the capacity is full. And it's day by day. I cannot tell you now that this specific program is closed, but for example, Master of Pharmaceutical Science is closed. It's full. As well, cybersecurity, for example, our cybersecurity is number 2 in the UK, and it's very competitive. Our MBA as well, it's very competitive. That's why there is some program already closed, but we still have some seats in different programs like engineering, some in business programs for undergraduate, some for master degree, but not the MBA, for example. But still, we are open to accept application. As for the PhD, there is no deadline. It's turnaround all over the year. Any other clarification?
Not so far, no. And we're going to draw it to a conclusion now as well. So Jasmine, any final words to students who are watching you, who want to do dentistry or any other programs? What would you say to them about Queen's University Belfast and Northern Ireland?
I think what I would like to say is just like, I really do encourage people to apply to Queen's and to come here because the city itself is truly amazing. The people, the support from the staff, just overall, the whole experience of being an international student or a student itself at Queen's is just truly amazing.
Okay, Kashif, final thoughts from you?
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with Jasmine, really. The experience here is just like, it is really something else because you feel like you get a bit of independence here on your own, but at the same time, you also have this huge support from the university behind you. And again, they can tackle all sorts of issues, be it accommodation, academics, even your physical and emotional health. Like, they're always there for you, which is an incredible help, especially when you're out there on your own.
Great. Thank you so much, Kashif. And on behalf of Kashif, Jasmine, Khalid, and Ahood, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who watched us today. The recording will be available to you for viewing. And also Khalid will be in touch with all of you who've registered and attended today. Do take up that opportunity, book a meeting with Khalid, have that counseling session, ask all the questions that you have with him. They're a friendly team. And also a big thank you to BMI and staff as well for organizing today's webinar, and I'm going to hand it over back to Stav on this. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and also for your stories. They've been very, very interesting today. I think they've been helpful to a lot of students who have joined us today. Any last words, anybody, or we'll be finishing?
If there is any question, I'm more than happy to answer. If there is any, but I can't see any question.
Yeah, not at the moment. You guys have answered loads, which has been brilliant. Thank you so, so much. And yes, as Farhad has mentioned, the recording will be on the way to you. So if you haven't had a chance to join us today, you can watch it on an email later in the week. All right. Well, have a good evening, everybody. And we hope to see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.